The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Hamstring flare-up. Should the Jets rest Aaron Rodgers against the Patriots to get ready for a short week next Thursday? We'll talk about that and much more. Jeff Parles will join us in his weekly spot on the show. So, Jet fans, let's hit it and get it started.
Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go, Jet fans. Before we bring on Jeff Parles, reminder, we got a watch party on Sunday at T-Squared Social. It is free to join. We will have the Jets and the Patriots game on most of the TVs with the sound on. We also will have the Red Zone channel on and a bunch of the other marquee games. And I'm proud to announce that the great Joe Beningo, Joe B, will be attending the watch party on Sunday. So come watch the Jet game with me and Beningo this Sunday from around noon up until when the game ends around 4:30. So, look, commiserate with the guy who knows how to commiserate better than anyone, Joe B. RSVP, if you can make it, all the love. All right, here we go. Let's bring on today's weekly guest in his weekly spot. We say hello, live from Las Vegas, to Jeff Parles. Hello, Jeff.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. It's we've been to some low spots, my friend, over the last 14 years or so. I can't remember a spot lower than how I feel going into this week, Jake. Really, really cannot. I know this has been a discussion on this show and on other Jets media this week, but it is this 7 weeks has taken a lot out of me, and I know it's taken a lot out of Jet fans, and especially in a year where look, I'm a Met fan, you're a Yankee fan, and you watch these New York baseball teams that have been in a slumber for a long time. Let's face it, the Mets hadn't been in this deep in the playoffs in 9 years. The Yankees are in their first World Series in 15 years, and you just watch how much those teams look like teams and how much that everyone has come together actually on the same goal. And then you watch whatever the hell that was on Sunday night after the interception, the first one Rodgers threw, even though the second one wasn't his fault, they're just clangorama off with Garrett, obviously. But just to watch a team that just has no camaraderie and just feels like a bunch of individuals just out there for themselves, it just sucks, man. It just really sucks right now to watch this team with this much talent be this bad, have 2 wins this year, Jake, against 2 of the 4 worst teams in football. And you know what? If Mason Rudolph played for Tennessee, they might have lost that game. They might have lost that game week 2. So this week has taken a lot out of me, man. It just really has. And look, you got the right team on deck. You got a team you already beat the crap out of once, and a team that is pretty clearly the second worst team in the NFL at this point in New England.
It's just hard to believe when this team was 2-1 after the last time they played New England. It has gone the way it has these last 4 weeks. Different coach, different play caller. Here's Devontae Adams. Hassan Reddick practice for the first time today, and it just feels like we have reached a new low with this franchise, despite the fact I still do believe this team is so much better than a 2-5 record would indicate.
Well, look, they have the talent to be better than 2-5, and you know, last year where basically the wind got taken out of everybody's sails after that Las Vegas game. We all know it. We knew that was the pendulum game, and that was that. And last week, I mean, look, for 26 and a half minutes, it looked like the Jets had found something, Jake. It was like, all right, the offense has actually looked pretty darn good against the high-end defense for most of the first half. The defense, other than the circus catch in this first 26 and a half minutes by Pickens, Defense basically held up when they needed to. And then that interception and everything just flipped, man. And they looked like a horrible football team the last 34 minutes of that game. And they look like a team that should be 2-5 with the way that they played down the stretch in that game. And look, I think we'll look back more so than this game, Jake. Week 4 really was the week that we should have the alarm bells were ringing at that point after that. But that was really the result that kind of set us on this course, right? Like, you hold Bo Nix to negative passing yards in the first half is 65 passing yards. The opponent scores 10 points and you lose at home. That's the moment more so than anything. Like, look, Minnesota's a good football team, and you played a horrible first half. You're not going to beat a good football team when you play horrible for 30 minutes. The Buffalo game was a coin flip game. The Jets just didn't take advantage of their situations in the red zone, and Buffalo did. That's how you lose a coin flip game. And then last week, it was gross. Everything about it was gross after the first 26 minutes of that game. Jake, look, this has been a helpless deal for years for us as fans. It's been helpless. It really has been helpless. But I can't remember a time where I feel as helpless as I feel right now as a fan, because I don't like. The most logical thing to help this team is the current ownership group selling the team, and that's not happening. That's not happening. Like we know that the Johnsons are not ever selling this team. And if I were them, I wouldn't sell the team. Of course not. But it is such a bad culture at this point. And look at the bad cultures that start with ownership in this league, Jake. The Cleveland Browns have 3 playoff appearances in 25 years. And 2 of them have come in the last 4 years because they actually have the right head coach, who now has gotten sabotaged by the fact that his owner refused to let him sit Deshaun Watson. You look at Carolina. Carolina is doomed for as long as Tepper does not stay out of the way. And now look, Woody was in London for 4 years, and they stood away. It didn't go well with Chris as the owner. I get it. But this all starts at the top, man. This ownership group has allowed Joe Douglas to be 29-61 in 90 games. How is that acceptable under any circumstance? This ownership group was scared of possibly ticking off Aaron Rodgers and allowed this coaching staff, which, by the way, Todd Downing, still not a good offensive coordinator. Offense at least has some creativity, even though they're not finishing drives off, Jake. And at some point, you would imagine that will come. But this is, Jake, since that win in Foxborough on Martin Luther King Day weekend in 2011, since then, this has been a trying is putting it politely, to 13 plus years at this point. And I've never felt as helpless as a fan as I do right now, because I don't think this is salvageable this year. Because look, Rodgers is on top of not being as good as he was, which we knew we were not getting peak Aaron Rodgers. We knew this. We talked about this going into the year, Jake. But on top of it, him not being peak Aaron Rodgers, he's hurt. He's clearly not healthy on top of it, and he's making decisions he's never made before also. This is a bad situation. But the stupidest part of the whole thing, Jake, is there's enough talent on this roster that if they win this weekend, I guarantee you when I'm here next week, we're all going to be talking about how they have a shot to beat the Texans next Thursday night. We know that. We know that. Because of us as fans, we are still delusional enough that this team who has beaten the hell out of us now for 14 years running will still somehow, we will see brighter days, even though there's no evidence at this moment that the brighter days are coming in 2024.
Well said. Look, I mean, they should win Sunday, but I've been saying this all week.
7-point favorite. Look, and New England looks bad right now.
They do.
If they don't win Sunday, then we can back it up, man. Then we can start doing draft prep next week.
Yes, and you can talk about trading anyone you can get picks for. But what I was going to say is this. It's hollow if they win Sunday. You got to then win Thursday. You know what I mean? Like, you got to go on a winning streak. That's the only way for this fan base to start to get energized again, because we want to believe. No one wants to talk about the draft with 10 games to go. You know, no one wants to talk about who the next coach is and the GM is here and who is Rodgers going to retire. Like, I don't want to do that yet. Like, even if you were, and I've said this all week, even if you were a hater of the Jets or, I got to see it to believe it. Even if you were the most negative Jet fan, which there are many cynical ones in this fan base, you didn't think they'd be 2-5. Not with this talent. Maybe you thought they'd be, they'd only be a 10-win team this year, or you know what? It was going to take some time, but you didn't think they'd be 2-5. And what's so frustrating, Jeff, if they just had one more win right now, and they should certainly have more than that, but if they just had one more win. If they're 3-4 right now, we could be like, well, you win Sunday, you're 500 going to the Houston game. You got a path to get it right.
Yeah, it goes back to that Denver game, man. It was an unacceptable loss at the time. We knew it, Jake. We knew it was an unacceptable loss. But it goes back to that. And not only that, look, if you're going to, again, I don't think this team's a playoff team. I think this is more likely that this thing implodes so badly that the Jets are picking in the top 5 as opposed to them making the playoffs at this point, despite what ESPN Analytics thinks. But it is a scenario where if you just win that game and you're 100% right, you beat New England. All right, so you haven't beat any good teams, but guess what? You're 4-4 going into a game where Houston has really struggled against higher end competition this year. Look, they're going to win the AFC South, but we saw the Jets beat the hell out of them last year when things are at the worst they possibly were last year when they beat them up in that game in the rain. But look, you put yourself too far behind the 8 ball. And look, the stupid part of this is that there's a path to win 4 in a row before your bye week. There's a path. You're a 7-point favorite this week. Jake, I know people in the chat will probably lose their minds at this, but the Superbook, which is one of the best sports books out here, has the Jets as a 1.5-point favorite against Houston as of right now. Like, they're favored to win that game, which, again, I think is a little crazy, but they're favored by the Vegas line. They're going to be favored in Arizona, even though that's a game I've been scared of all year, which we talked about before the year. And they'll be favored against Indianapolis because Anthony Richardson can't complete a forward pass right now. So the path is there to win 4 in a row, but there's no reason, and you said this after the game on Sunday night, there's no reason to believe this team can stack 4 wins in a row. There's no reason to believe that.
They beat themselves.
Sure there's a reason. There has been no evidence from this team that they are capable of winning more than 2 games in a row. There's no evidence to say that they can do that. And until proven otherwise, that's how we have to operate at this point. And Jake, if you're at the bye week with 7 losses and basically having to win out in order to give yourself a realistic chance to get in, 9 might be good enough, but you're gonna have all the tiebreaker things going against you now too. It just, again, it just feels so beaten down right now with everything that's happened. And I don't know. And the one guy, I do feel bad for one guy in this circumstance, Jake. I feel bad for Jeff Ulbrich. And Jeff Ulbrich, who got thrown into the fire here, and it's pretty clear that I don't think it would have mattered who they made the interim head coach. It wasn't getting solved overnight. There were too many things within the culture on this team that were so ingrained to the negative that they could have brought in Bill Parcells and it still wouldn't be working right now. That's how bad the culture is around that team. And look, I don't know what the future holds for Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what the future holds for these players. But I can tell you this. There's going to be a new general manager. There's going to be a new head coach next year. And if the Johnson family is going to be wanting to be taken serious at all by this fan base moving forward, they better get those hires right. Because if not, you're going to lose a generation of Jet fans. And you and I both know this, of how great and loyal this fan base has been. There have been no faulting of people for backing away for the crap we've watched for 14 years now. But we're still here. We're still here. But even the biggest Jet fans I know, the second biggest Jet fan I know that's not an Asmaniac here, Jake, texted me on Monday morning this week. And maybe he was a little bit depressed that the Mets went out too. But he texted me on Monday basically saying, I don't know if I can do this anymore with the Jets. And there are a lot of people right now who I know are feeling that way, Jake. And it starts at the top. And until the Johnson family actually does something to prove that they aren't this bottom tier ownership group, why should we believe? it's hard to believe that this will ever get right with those guys owning the team.
Thinking is overrated.
It comes down to. So is apparently winning games. Look, let's talk about Aaron Rodgers specifically now. Injury report is out. The good news is it looks like the Jets are going to get both DJ Reed and Michael Carter back. So that's big.
Good news. Good news.
They missed those guys' energy too. It's not just their play. Like this defense was so soft the other night, they
missed DJ Reed's leadership. Honestly,
100%.
That's really what they missed.
Yep. But with Rodgers specifically, I'm going to play you some cuts here back to back. He's on the injury report. He's been on the injury report for the low ankle sprain he's been dealing with. He also now has a hamstring injury. Now, he did have some sort of hamstring thing from week 2 on, but Jeff Ulbrich said the hamstring injury that's now listed on the report is a new injury. Here's Ulbrich and then Rodgers addressing it back to back.
Yeah, it is new. Something that kind of flared up this past game, and so, they're going to assess it all week long. He's going to treat his butt off like he always does, and don't anticipate this affecting him in playing.
Do you think there were a couple of times in the game where when the pocket broke down, it looked like he had room to scramble? Do you think maybe he didn't because of his leg?
Maybe.
His hamstring?
Maybe.
Did you notice a couple of those?
A few times where he normally take off and utilize his mobility because, historically he's been one of the more mobile quarterbacks in this league. So, for sure.
Impacting how you're throwing in terms of if you can plant, if you can drive, things of that nature?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I feel good on game days. The ankle responded really well. I just have some swelling in my knee from time to time, but I don't think it's going to be an issue.
Okay, so Aaron's going to play, but I'm just going to throw it out there. If there was ever a game where you would start Tyrod Taylor, it would be this week because you're playing a brutal football team on Sunday that you should be able to beat with Tyrod, and then you turn around 3 days later and play the Houston Texans on a Thursday night, and the Texans have Will Anderson Jr., they have Danielle Hunter. If Aaron Rodgers could get 20% more healthy by not playing Sunday, and he's more mobile for that game, I would strongly consider starting Tyrod against an awful Patriots team because you should still be able to beat the Patriots with Tyrod Taylor. It's not going to happen. You heard Ulbrich say Rodgers is playing. Rodgers today talked about how he's playing. He doesn't want to use the injury as an excuse, but I'm just throwing it out there, Jeff. If there was ever a week to do something like this, it would be this week.
If you're 4-3, 5-2, all right, maybe. You can't do it when you're 2-5. It's as simple as that. You need to win the game. Aaron Rodgers at 70% is still going to be better than Tyrod 100% at this point. But
do we know that, though?
Look, I'll say this. Aaron Rodgers has to play better.
100%.
It's as simple as that.
And he said so. He said as much.
There are a ton of problems on this team, but one problem that I don't think any of us thought was that Aaron Rodgers was going to be a below-average starting quarterback in this league. And if you look at the numbers, that's what he's been so far through 7 games. But look, 40-year-old quarterback who's banged up. You still got to ride him. You still have this whole year built around him. And I'll say this. The only time Aaron Rodgers looked 100% fresh this year, Jake, was in the Thursday night game against New England.
You're right.
So I just wonder if there's and a good friend of mine who really knows ball well and has been around and in the league over the last 20 years, brought this point up after that New England game that actually the short week actually helped Aaron Rodgers. Helped him. And I think the short week would help Aaron Rodgers again, even if he's not 100% healthy. I think you can't do it. Your record's too bad. You're in too big of a hole. If you lose this game, your season's completely over. You're also in last place if you lose this game. So you're that also on the realm. But now look, after watching New England the last few weeks, if the Jet defense actually shows up, Jake, New England's not scoring more than 14 points in this game. And you know what the funny part is, Jake? I've mentioned this to you a few times. The magic number with this Jet team is 24. They're 2-0 in games they've reached 24. They're 0-5 in the other 5 games. Score 24 points, you're winning these games. And realistically speaking, looking at really just the Niner game and the Steeler game would have been the only 2 that wouldn't have been that case. Again, that Steeler game, just everything that could have gone wrong went wrong after Rodgers' interception. The defense was soft. The offense was awful after that interception. But look, This is a game Aaron Rodgers should play. The Jets should win this game. And then we'll do it all over again next Wednesday on this show for the Thursday night game, Jake.
We'll have false hope for like 2 or 3 days of trying to convince ourselves they can beat the Texans.
I don't even know if you can have false hope. This is just one of those. It's like, okay, the season made it to Halloween.
Right. They survived another week. Now show us something against the Texans.
Okay, you survived another week. Now try to win another game. If you win that one, okay. You're 4-5. You've gotten most of the way back from your awful start. Go to Phoenix and beat Arizona. If you beat Arizona, all right, great. You're back to 5-5, and you have a very flawed Indianapolis team on deck at home. Okay. Look, there is a path. That's the stupid part with this whole thing, Jake. There is absolutely a path to still winning 10 games. But I don't think anyone in their right mind can believe that this team at the moment is capable. Well, they would need to be 8-2 to go to 10 wins. I don't think anyone can believe right now that this team is capable of playing 800 ball over a 10-game stretch. We just haven't seen any evidence to that at this point.
No, but the one thing I'll say, I don't see it, but for those who are holding on to hope, and until they're eliminated, like I'm rooting for wins, I want to see this team win. The previous 4 years, there were 2-5 teams that made the playoffs. I'd imagine if we checked out, Packers YouTube a year ago, they weren't exactly saying that 2-5 team was going to be.
They wanted to run Jordan Love out of town.
Right.
Trust me, I know.
So Jacksonville 2 years ago was 2-5. They made the playoffs. So like, if you're 2-5, you're obviously not playing well. That's why you're 2-5. Like at some point, the teams that have made the run to go from 2-5, including the Jets, by the way, in 2002, the last time they won the division, like something's got to change. Maybe it's this Devontae Adams speech we're hearing a lot about today that he gave.
I just want to know what was in that speech, man.
Yeah, I'll talk more about it.
Doing Devontae's secret stuff. I mean,
unreal.
Something like that. I mean, I don't know.
I'll talk more about it in a separate video. Probably tomorrow we'll pull some of the quotes from players and Devontae himself talking about it. But it's got to start somewhere, man. Win Sunday, and maybe they get going. Now, I do want to ask you this. Reddick practiced for the first time today. The Jets posted a video of him, like, walking out being like, oh,
congratulations. You waited 6 weeks too long.
The comments are just brutal. It's like, hey, thanks, Asman. Thanks for showing up now. This should have been done.
I think this is on everyone involved, Jake. This is on everyone. It's more on Reddick's fault for getting bad advice. But look, this was all avoidable. We know this, Jake. And here you are where, all right, Reddick will probably play well this weekend. They're facing an awful offensive line. Reddick will probably have a sack or two in that game on Sunday, Jake. But look, too little too late at this point. You needed Haason Reddick. You really needed Haason Reddick in that Buffalo game. That's really the game where, more so than anything, that's the one where it hurt the most not to have him. Because then you had Michael Clemens looking like an imbecile on the outside on that last play of the game instead of a real player like Reddick. So, look, it just too little too late on this. That saved me with this. And you know what? If Reddick makes a big impact and the Jets go on a run, we'll change our tone. We'll change our tone.
Jeff, speaking of tone, this organization is so tone deaf sometimes. Why post anything about Haason Reddick practicing today? Just say nothing. We know he's out there. Don't post a video of him walking out on the practice field, being like, all right, hopefully we can turn it around. Like, that's what he says in the video. Like, read the room, man. No Jet fan wants to see a video of Haason Reddick reporting to practice for the first time today. If they were 5-2 when he did this, fine. They're 2-5. Read the room, man. Who's ever posting those videos? How stupid are you? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, if you were 5-2, of course, like, all right, another piece to make a big run here. But again, this is, like I said, Jake, this has really been
a season from hell, Jeff. This is worse than last year.
Yeah. I mean, they were 4-3 through 7 games.
Well, I'm just saying, like, just the vibe, like the Rodgers injury last year was the most devastating sports moment of my life, being there and all that. But like the pain of watching this season with the talent they added and this quarterback being back.
This is way. This is Jake. This is way worse. This is way worse. This is again, like, I'm trying to think of a team with the amount of talent they've had that's busted as badly as this team is busted through 7 games. The only thing I can think of was that all-star Michael Vick team in Philadelphia that ended up going 6-10, which ended up causing Andy Reid to get fired. And of course, we know what happened there with Andy Reid long term after that. So
did we get an Andy Reid like coach to replace Salah/Ulbrich?
I don't look, man. There are so many assuming this doesn't turn, man, there are so many questions moving forward. And I quite frankly don't know what ends up happening.
I have it on the screen. GM, coach, quarterback, all gone, one gone,
Oh, you
two
mean
gone.
25, not 24.
Oh, I should update that. You're correct.
Yeah. You mean you're 25. Look, if you made me we know they're going to have a new head coach because Ulbricht's not getting the job unless if they go on a run, and I don't see them going on a run.
8-2, he probably gets the job, but we'll see.
Well, if they could look, if they go 8-2 in the last 10, and they hit our delusional dreams to a T here, Jake. Yeah, he's keeping the job. But
I'll be bricked up for that, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, I think everyone would be bricked up if that happens. But Douglas has got to go, man. Douglas is 29-61. 29-61 in the Douglas era. Like, how is it possible he got 90 games? Like, all right, he's gonna get to exactly 100 games here, Jake.
Are we sure he's even still the GM right now?
I don't even know.
Where's he been? I haven't seen Joe Douglas anywhere. I haven't even seen like the Jets post like sideline videos of him or like the beat even like spotting him at practice.
Maybe he's so beaten down at this point, like all of us, that he is just not making his face visible in public anymore.
I think Woody's the GM right now.
Well, that's a bigger problem. That's a bigger problem.
No, of course it is, but I'm just saying, like Joe Douglas, where are you at, man? Like he's in like witness protection right now.
Yeah, I can't really blame him for that, though. Can't really blame him for that.
All right. Oh, the pain. Anyway, some super chats here. At first, I want to acknowledge the kindness of JT. He gifted a membership before the show even began, which is what it's all about. It went to listener Eric Greco. So, Eric, you got a membership courtesy of the great, the incomparable JT. All right, some super chats here. Jets carpetbagger. My vote, rest Rodgers. I'd consider it. It's not going to happen, but I'd consider it. If they get up big, though, it could not be Tyrod Taylor time fast enough.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Well, look, if you somehow end up three touchdowns in this game, that means the Jets scored 3 touchdowns. So that's something to celebrate in its own right, Jake.
Snake says, we need the old BP blitz. What does that mean?
BP.
BP?
Why am I blanking on this?
Who's BP? Am I missing? I'm not getting this one. Snake, please clarify. Thanks for the super chat. Luppy writes in, only video of Reddick is when he knocks May into November. Drake May. Okay. That's right. Yes. I know what you're saying, Luppy. Tweet out the highlight of Hassan Reddick after he sacks Drake May on Sunday. Fine. I'm good with that.
I thought we were talking about months there for a second.
About what?
We were talking about months there. Remember the E at the end of May, guys. Makes us less confused.
Luppy's struggling with the spelling there. Hey, Luppy, if you need a reminder on how to spell Drake May's last name. I think that guy. I know, right? Maybe Neil needs to hump a Drake May jersey again. That's how the Jets will get back on track.
Oh, boy. Jesus. Let's not speak that into existence anymore, Jake.
BP maybe is Bill Parcells. Nate in the chat.
I mean, that has to be the only way. That's the only one it would have to be, right? But we're talking 25 years ago now.
I mean, look, as Tom Ace wrote, Jeff, if you have to ask what BP is, you can't afford it. What movie is that from? I've seen that movie. Where's that from?
Oh, boy.
Someone clarified, chat. Anyway, Jets Carpetbagger says, I'm 6 on Saleh firing. Woody's main mistake was how it was done without good replacement plan in place. Ulbrich not the answer. Hindsight 2020. Look, I can't sit here and say firing Saleh was a mistake. It's just the timing of it didn't necessarily set you up for success. I can't be a hypocrite, though. I didn't have a problem with it. I don't know if it made that big of a difference one way or another. But obviously, if you could do it over, you would have fired Saleh at the end of last year and got a real coach going into this year.
Well, that's what it is. Like, you firing him midstream doesn't really help you, especially when you don't have a natural replacement on your coaching staff, Jake. That's really what the bigger issue is, more so than anything. You could argue the defense is switched because falling apart I don't want to say falling apart. That's kind of unfair, but they did fall apart in the second half against Pittsburgh, is that Ulbrich has more responsibilities now. That's not an excuse. That's just, again, kind of what ends up happening here when you do it midstream, replacing with a guy who's never had coaching experience. And look, you weren't going to make Hackett the freaking head coach. We already saw that.
Why not? Does he have experience?
In retrospect, I know people in the chat will get angry at me. We kind of owe Sean Payton an apology because
I don't think anyone debated whether or not he was right or not.
100% right, though.
It was wrong that he said it publicly. It's like you just don't do that. But he wasn't wrong. We know Hackett was a disaster.
Yeah, well, look, it's whatever. This year is just like I said. This is taking a lot out of all of us, man. It should not be happening. What's going on right now? And again, like we should be like this conversation this week. You should be all right. Running a win streak against New England up to 3, Jake. Running it up to 3 on the Patriots. Try to answer their ridiculously long winning streak with a nice streak of the Jets moving forward over the next few years. And instead it's this because this team is an abject train wreck right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the super chats keep rolling in. Thank you for the support. Mike D's Nuts has been a channel member for 5 months. He says jacking season ticket prices is a foul move. They don't deserve this fan base. For those who missed it, Jets season ticket prices went up 6% for next season. This is on top of a 30% increase from last year. Dating back over the last 4 years, season ticket prices have increased 52%, despite the Jets' record during that time being 22-52.
Well, look, I go back to what I said before. This ownership group deserves no respect from the fan base at this point, Jake. What have you done for us to make us realize? Like, I'm with Mike here. That total BS of Jets leadership to do this, especially in the middle of what is just, again, let's be honest with ourselves. Other than 2 years ago, Wilson's second year, until everything fell off, really when Mike White's ribs could not survive any further, Jake. These last 2 years have been as poorly run of show that I could ever remember from this franchise, which is saying something because of the train wrecks that were going on before that as it was.
It's a joke,
gross.
man. And asking for money now when the team's 2-5. Like, once again, we talked about the social media team being tone deaf, posting a Reddick video at practice today. The Jets asking for money now when the team's 2-5 is completely tone deaf. Wait. What are you doing? You don't even know who the coach is next year. The GM, who the quarterback is potentially.
It's a bad ownership group, Jake. And unfortunately, I don't think anything's going to change until they're gone. But they're going nowhere. They're going nowhere.
Thinking is overrated.
Yeah, it's just enough at this point.
I knew the second Woody said that, once this team continued to lose, that quote was going to live on forever.
Well, you know what? It should live on forever. It's how he is all the way across the board, even non-football stuff.
Hold on. I want to bring the chat a laugh here. Mike D's Nuts is one of our loyal followers. This is for you, Mike. D's Nuts. Thank you, Mike. No, that was me, man. I found that off the internet. Yeah. There's no effect there. No,
look at you, Jake.
That's my D's Nuts sounder. But when Mike, if you gift any memberships today, we'll give Jeff the full experience, if you know what I mean. Anyway, Gary writes in 29-61 Joey. Thank you, Jeff. Talk to him. Yes. Here's my issue with Gary, though. He said before the year, this is the most talented team the Jets have had since 1998, and he wanted to fire the GM before the year started. I'm like, Gary, that really doesn't make any sense. Can we see how the year plays out, and then maybe we make a GM change if the Jets don't reach their goals? But that's Gary for you.
I don't know. I would have fired the GM after last year. So, I mean, again, like.
Well, then you would have to fire coach and GM after last year for sure.
That's Jake, in retrospect, that should have been the tell that this was probably not going to go as well as we thought. Where they gave a horrible coaching staff and a horrible GM a mulligan because a 39-year-old quarterback ruptured his Achilles week 1. Like, let's just think of the absurdity of that without any other information, Jake.
It's just still painful to me because, like, we shouldn't be doing this now, Like, as bad as it's been, if Greg Zuerlein was last year's version of Greg Zuerlein, they have two more wins.
Yeah, they have two extra wins right now. Again, but here's the thing, though, Jake. You know this. Bad teams find ways to lose.
I know.
That's what happened.
But last year they were a bad team that actually found a way to win a little bit. They were 4-3 last year.
Well, because, look, their defense, and, Jake, this is an analytics thing where the analytics people have been screaming for multiple years. It is very hard to have a top 5 defense more than 2 years in a row. And that has happened so far to the Jets this year, where they were a top 5 defense without a shadow of a doubt the last 2 years until the wheels completely came off at the end of last season. It's just hard to be a high-end defense 3 years in a row. You just need injuries to be right. By the way, in retrospect, Joe Douglas not bringing any of those good guys back on the defensive line around Quinnen and Will McDonald didn't help. Now, granted, we didn't expect Maine to get hurt in week 2, but again, this has been a nightmare, man. I know everyone knows it, and I know I'm repeating myself, but this has just sucked every way around here.
By the way, Jeff, you were all over Will McDonald breaking out for anyone.
The only positive thing I got right with this team this year. Kid's awesome. Kid's better than that was one thing Douglas got right, not paying Bryce Huff. It was right not to pay Bryce Huff.
Yeah.
It's the only thing he's gotten right so far this offseason.
Yeah, if only he realized maybe I shouldn't get rid of JFM for nothing.
Yeah, well, that was stupid. That was stupid at the time. We knew that was going to hurt them.
Yep.
We knew that.
Luppy has gifted not 1 but 2 channel memberships. I'm going to
Nice.
start gifting some memberships too. We need some positive vibes in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, the Lup Man delivers. Let's see who got a membership here. If you hear your name called, you are a channel member. It went to listener Dirty Jesus and Depressed Jet Fan. How fitting. Depressed Jet Fan getting a channel membership.
We feel you, Depressed Jet fan.
Oh, Jeff, get ready, baby. Mike D's Nuts coming through. A 5-spot of channel memberships. Now, you wanted a little Gator McCluskey. Here's your Gator video, Jeff.
Hey, thank you, Mike D's Nuts, for another gifted membership. Hey.
We haven't had one of those in a while. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate your support as always, my friend. John Stell, Fight or Flight Eric, Pat Morgan, Troy M, Steve Marzuki, all receiving a channel membership there from the great Mike D's Nuts. Jeff, are you ready for some calls?
Yeah, let's go. Go for it.
Here we go. Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline is open. If you want to join the show, click the link. It will ask you to sign in through YouTube or Facebook, and then we could go to you. First up on our show today is the Hamburger. Hello, Hamburger.
Hey, what's up, Jeff? What's up, Jake? How you guys doing today?
Living the dream, Hamburger.
Yeah, man. I'm still not feeling much better about Sunday coming up. But I do feel a little better now that I hear that DJ Reed and Michael Carter are back with Hassan Reddick and Will McDonald. I don't think their offense is going to be able to do much against us this weekend. But still, man, after watching Aaron last night, it was probably the first time that I've watched his program being on the McAfee and being like, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care. I look at my wife and I'm like, we're tanky. Like, we're falling apart. This team's falling apart. You know, now he's starting to – I think he took a few shots at the organization saying we're a defensive-minded organization. You know, he feels that we're stuck in that. So I don't know if he's trying to maybe shake a few trees or something like that. And
I don't think he was taking shots. I think he was just talking about changing the mentality of, like, just not always relying on the defense. Like, we got to be better as an offense. Like, go win the game ourselves. I
know, but that's our coaching staff. That's all they are is defensive-minded people. So
yeah, but he's taking ownership of, like, him in the offense needing to play better. Like, he's not taking a shot at the he's not taking a shot at the organization.
All right, maybe not. I don't know. I listen to him now, and I'm starting to get annoyed. I'm starting to get annoyed with his play. He looks old.
That's why.
I know, man. It's hard to get out of this funk. And I think, Jeff, listen, you're right. Like, and Jake, you're right. It's really going to kill the fan base. I mean, it's so hard. I have 42 years. I remember the Kotite era, and that wasn't even half as bad. We just knew we stunk. This was supposed to be like Super Bowl bound, like 2 years in a row that we're all pumped up and excited, and here we are. We're holding crap in our hands again. I mean, I want Rodgers to be on the field this weekend. If we're gonna lose, I want to lose with him. I just want to finish it. I want him out there, even if he's hurt. I know he'll be able to play. I don't think they're gonna get on him too much. Their defensive line isn't that great. It's okay, but we'll see, man. I don't know. I just still feel like they're going to lose. I have no positivity yet, and I thought I'd come around, but this year is different than any other year. I could at least get up for a game and, you know, knowing that, okay, we kind of suck, but whatever. Let's make the day out of it, and the Jets are going to win. No, we want to win, and we need 3-4 wins before I'm going to be like, all right, I have some confidence we're going to win next week. But
Hamburger, win on Sunday, and you'll be ready to go for the Houston game, baby.
You know, I will be ready. I know it's a disease, bro. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. But listen, guys, have a great day. I'm going to go pick up my daughter and my kids. So thank you. Great show, as always.
Hamburger, appreciate it. I mean, that's the problem, man. This fan base is so great. Like, we want to win so bad. We're like,
Look, we're delusional to a fault, my friend. It's okay. And by the way, I just want to say this real quick because Hamburger obviously had his whole Met outfit on as well. For fans of your baseball team that are still around in the postseason right now, you got to be enjoying every single second of this. And I enjoyed every single second of the Mets run because as opposed to this team that has become this unlikable mess, both of these baseball teams in New York are like the most likable versions of these teams that I can remember. The Mets haven't been this likable since 2000, basically. And the Yankees, I mean, Jake, you can speak to this more. I mean, this is the most likable Yankee team. Obviously, 09, they won it. But, I mean, it's been a long time since the Yankees have had a team as likable as they have. Even as a Met fan, I don't totally dislike this Yankee team. That's how unlikable they are this year.
Yeah, it's been nice, man, because it's just room for this Jet team, man. It's really taken a toll. I used the word, irreparable damage on the postgame show Sunday. It's what you're talking about. I think this year, if it continues going the way it's going, they're doing long-term damage to this fan base. It's going to be tough to ever truly be excited about another Jet season if, with all this talent, all this excitement, it ends the way it's appearing like it's going to end.
Look, and I hope Woody and the whole Johnson family realizes how important doing the right thing is. Even if they don't win games, Jake, they have to do right things to show that, okay, we're going to learn from our mistakes. And they've just compounded their mistakes and made everything worse this year. That's what it comes down to. But again, I mean, look, it's no mystery to anyone why Robert Saleh got fired after the London game. It's no mystery why that happened. It's because Woody was embarrassed that they lost in front of his friends in London. It wasn't that they were 2-3 and looking like a disappointment. No, Woody got embarrassed because they lost in London, Jake. It's the only reason he got fired when he did. And again, I still think it was the right move to fire him. I don't love the timing of it on a short week against your biggest division rival coming up. But again, you're right, though, and it goes back to what we've been saying. This year, I really do think if this doesn't turn around this year, there will be a decade worth of damage done to the fan base here based off of this year. And that's even if they come back and make the playoffs next year, Jake. The damage will be done because there will be a lot of people that vacate after this year that just don't come back.
It's hard to. You haven't given this fan base a reason in a very long time. Real quick, so there was video of Robert Saleh today at Packers practice.
I saw it, yeah.
So some speculated, okay, did Matt LaFleur, who was the best man in Saleh's wedding, did he hire Saleh to the staff in some role? LaFleur says former Jet coach Robert Saleh is, quote, helping the team on the offensive side of the ball. He's consulting how often he'll be around. It will be fluid, not an uncommon setup in the NFL. These two coaches are very close. That's from Jonathan Jones at CBS. Why would you bring in Saleh to help the offensive side of the ball?
My anticipation would be basically just how is a defense going to attack us more so than anything.
I guess
that would be the way that I would expect it. Where Saleh's brought in is, all right, Robert, you're in charge of looking at the game, what the expected game plan of the defense we're playing is going to be, and you're going to help say, all right, this is what they're going to try to shut down from your offense. That's how I would see it, Jake.
That makes sense. It's just weird seeing Robert Saleh, offensive consultant. I mean, how great would it be if he becomes a stud offensive coordinator in his next role?
Whatever, man. You know what? Nothing shocks me anymore when guys leave the Jets. Sam Darnold's a freaking MVP candidate right now. Joe Flacco is like the best backup in the NFL now.
Geno leads the NFL in passing yards.
Geno leads the NFL in passing yards. Todd Bowles won a freaking division last year. I mean, just the list goes on and on and on and on at this point. I mean, The only thing that will shock me is if Hackett leaves the Jets and actually becomes a reasonable football coach again in any fashion. That would be the moment where it might be time to shut the whole franchise down.
Shut the whole franchise. If Zach Wilson is ever a competent starter, shut the franchise down because he stinks. He's a third string.
Jake. I don't think we're ever going to see him again.
I don't.
I really don't.
I just think he's bad. But you know what? I know what we need right now, Jeff. This guy is angry. He's upset. So, ladies and gentlemen, with a brand new, never before played intro, we say hello to this guy.
These guys stink. Every game is the same thing over and over again. They do nothing. This coaching staff is for the birds. This team is going nowhere. They're too stupid and have no idea what they're doing. Bunch of friggin' assholes.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Hey, Jeff. How are you? How you doing, Jake?
It's great to see you, man. I'll say this. That intro, I did not know was coming. Obviously, Jake and I would imagine Gator had some hands in that. I was applauding the whole time while I was muted there. It was that good.
The biggest mistake they made is not firing this whole crew of shitheads before the season started. That's the first mistake. Now we have a real dilemma. Now the dilemma has really started because the coaches can't make decisions. The owner is going over the GM. All right, you can't walk over to Rodgers and say, guess what? You're not playing. I'm putting Tyrod in because you'll get fired. So your Rich isn't going to say anything. I mean, this is a joke. Aaron Rodgers has taken over this whole team, and this team is now divided because you know what? Aaron Rodgers had 3 chances to win games. He won none. All we heard about was the red line. Williams wasn't on the
Peter,
red
you're
line.
turning on Rodgers. Wow, you were picking them to go 14-3 because of Rodgers. Now you're out on Rodgers. This is stunning.
Jake, I didn't know that he was this bad. He's as bad as Simeon. There's a coach.
Oh, stop it. No, I think
not as bad as Simeon.
I think we're going a little close.
Peter, I think it is very fair to say at this point that Aaron Rodgers, as of this moment, has been a bottom 10 starter in the NFL so far this year. If you want to say that, that is fair. Look at the numbers. Look at how his offense has functioned. He has not played well. And look, this is what happens. And we've seen this too. Look, we've seen this in the course of the history of the NFL of recent memory. Peyton Manning goes to Denver at a later age, still has it. And Denver, obviously, funnily enough, in his worst year, ends up winning the Super Bowl, but a lot of success with Peyton Manning. Brady goes to Tampa, wins the Super Bowl year 1 with a team that really was not that good in year 1. They were better his second year, and they ended up coming up short. And now this, look, the worst nightmare of Aaron Rodgers coming off an Achilles injury at 40 has happened. He's not the same guy anymore. And unfortunately for the Jets, you have yes men across the organization for him, and he has not performed at the level that he is warranted having all those yes men right now.
But even still, Jeff,
can he turn it around? Maybe. I don't know.
The decision making on this team is terrible.
Yeah, it starts at the top, Peter. It starts at the top. It goes back to what I said before. All these problems start with Woody. That's all where it starts.
Yeah, even like little things. Why are we sticking with Gibson instead of putting Corley back there to return kicks? How come Sauce Gardner still isn't traveling with the best receiver? How come we're not blitzing? They don't correct anything. Nothing is corrected. And if you say anything or do anything, it's like, to me, it looks like the coaches are all afraid to say anything to Aaron Rodgers. Because he's running the whole show, obviously.
But that's not his thing.
Everybody else is just a puppet there.
But Peter, Rodgers is not in charge of like Xavier Gibson being on the field or not, or Sauce not shadowing. I think you're being a little too tough on Rodgers. He obviously was not good against Pittsburgh, but the whole premise of this year was the fact that he was going to be able to go out there, have a top 10 defense, certainly at least top 10, top 5, have a running game which is not existent. We were expecting more from these receivers that haven't lived up to it, minus Garrett, who hasn't even truly been himself. Like this, basically the whole premise of this team being the team we thought was built on Rodgers not having to be elite. And at times he's given you some moments here or there, but he hasn't been good enough, and he's got to play better. That's the bottom line.
Jake, you said all year long, you said all we need is the quarterback. Stick a quarterback in there. It's not the case with this guy.
Well,
I agree with you. I thought the same thing. This guy's going to make a big difference. The offense is going to be on the field for most of the game. He's terrible. He's been terrible. He's got to get better. He's not going to get better. He's 41 with a bad leg.
I mean, he's on pace for 4,000 yards and 24 touchdowns right now. I
don't care what he's on pace for.
I'm just telling you,
two wins and 6 losses. He's on pace. He's got to be better.
Peter, I agree with you, but I feel like you're saying that Simeon's better than him, or like you're not remembering how bad it was. The problem with this team is they don't have a top 5 special teams anymore and don't have a top 5 defense. If they had Greg Zuerlein from a year ago, there's 2 more wins right now, and then they're integrating Devontae into this offense, and I bet you it looks a lot better. He needs to play better, but I feel like what we were expecting from Rodgers, we're now changing, we're moving the goalpost a little bit because what he was supposed to have is not there right now, so now we need more from him. And he's 40, banged up. I don't know if that's there right now. That's the problem.
Okay, so besides Rodgers, all right, that's one story. How come we don't make any changes? Like Berline, he stinks. Get him out of here. Get a couple of kickers in
Peter,
here.
Peter, that I agree with you on the Zuerlein thing, and I understand what Greg Zuerlein's history is. Where when Zuerlein's been at his best in his NFL career, he's been a top 5 kicker in this league. I don't think there's any arguing that. But we've now seen with Zuerlein. There was one stretch in his career when he got cut from the Rams and went to Dallas and became a totally unreliable guy for about a year and a half, and then he figured himself out again when he came to New York. That's what we have right now with Zuerlein with the Jets. I was a little bit floored that after they lost the Buffalo game that they didn't say, all right, we've lost 2 games potentially because of the kicker. Why is he still here? And they're resting on past laurels as opposed to what he is at the moment. That I'm with you 100% on.
Let me ask you another question, Jeff.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh has one receiver, Pickens. All right. Why wasn't Sauce Gardner on him the whole game?
Look, I'll say this with the game plan last week. They got the in-game injuries to their corner position. They seemed unprepared to replace multiple guys, which that's a different conversation for a different time. I thought Russell Wilson played a pretty poor game for 2.5 quarters. And then once he found it, forget it. It was over at that point anyway. Look, Sauce was on Pickens about half the game. I would have liked him on the whole game. One of the plays Pickens made was incredible. Was the play off of Eckles' back. It was great coverage. The Pickens just made a great play. So look, I'm with you. I would like to see my number 1 corner travel, but now that Reed's coming back, you don't necessarily have to do that. But with Reed out, you did need to do that last week. I do agree with you on that, Peter.
Oh, I'm glad you agree on something.
Peter, let's go Yankees, all right?
Yankees are going to win in 5 games.
5 games? No, stop it.
Okay, Peter, that I don't agree with. I think you're nuts on that.
They're going to win.
I will say this. I know we don't want to talk a lot of baseball, but we have 2 Yankee hats on here. Yankees have to win game 1. It's as simple as that. You have to win your Garrett Cole starts. If you don't, you're losing the series.
Yeah,
and as someone who thought that the Mets actually matched up pretty well with the Dodgers, if those guys hit like they did in the NLCS, it's going to be very, very difficult for anyone to beat them, no matter how good the Yankees are. And the Yankees are damn good, as we know.
The Met bats got a little quiet during that series.
Well, they ran into a high end team that played at the high end of the.
Jeffrey? He's gone. Peter, let's go Yankees.
These guys stink. Every game it's the same thing over and over again. They do nothing. This coaching staff is for the birds. This team is going nowhere. They're too stupid and have no idea what they're doing. Bunch of friggin' assholes.
So let me take you inside that intro there. I said, Gator, the AI is not doing Peter Castro right. Just take some of his calls from last week and use that. So that will be adjusted. But it was too good to not play with Castro on the line. Jeff froze, so we'll work on getting him back. While we wait for Jeff, let's say hello to Brian. Hello, Brian.
Good afternoon. Hello, everyone. I would say that this fan base is equally loyal as we are tortured. It's been a while for many of us. It's a constant look to next year, and I'm the optimist. I'm rooting for like the week 17 win or the week 18 win when it means a win and nothing else. I don't care about draft position. I'm one of those fans that cares for wins only. And I just wanted to throw this out there that we're 2 weeks away from the trade deadline, right? We're 2 weeks out. We got 2 more games. I could see the fire sale potentially starting. Conklin, Mosley, Reed. We already know Mike Williams, Tyron Smith, Kinlaw, Reddick. All these guys are just 1 year dudes at this point, and we don't know who's going to be around next year as our GM, as previously discussed. So here's the fire sale coming, right? So we are a tortured fan base. We will clearly have enough to talk and complain about in 2 weeks, if that's what starts, with all of our expectations being so darn high at the beginning of the year, with this dream team on paper. You know, if we only had this, if we only made a kick, if we had Devontae in the beginning, if one thing after another. And so, I appreciate the passion of the fan base, and living on the West Coast in California, wear my green proud. I have a green Rivian that says Jets green on the license plate with Jet stickers. I get honked on every now and then of a fellow Jets fan that finds me. But it's lonely being a Jets fan. It ain't easy
being green, Brian. I mean, you're a loyal fan. It's just they're doing damage to this fan base, man. Start winning. No one wants to fold the season, even if it's false hope. Win Sunday, and at least we can be excited about, all right, you just beat Houston. Look at the schedule. It's not impossible. That's why the analytics still gives them a ridiculous 47% chance to be a playoff team, because the schedule's a joke. So, but they got to win games. That's what it comes down to. We'll be bought back in when they start going on a winning streak.
Yeah, I want them to kick New England's ass this weekend, all right? That's just how I feel about beating New England, right? Let's see that, and not just a win, a thorough domination from start to finish at all three phases, where we control that line of scrimmage and we all say, holy cow, they can do this, right? We're back to being delusional fans. I'm proud of it, right? I see green no matter what. It's also the color of money. Maybe that's why Woody likes the team. And to your comment before about where's Joe Douglas been, I think he just slipped into his Halloween costume early, and he's just a ghost. And I am a Joe Douglas fan. He inherited an awful roster with awful coaching, with a terrible salary cap, and he rectified the ship 2 years in, had some more than 50% hits on the draft, crafted a young core, brought in the vets. And damn, we all felt like this was it, right? I'm 2 weeks away from canceling my hotel in New Orleans for the Super Bowl. I mean, that's how I feel. I make a reservation every year. Jets fans, you should be doing this. You know where it is next year. You know the date. Make those reservations, because we're delirious. We're crazy fans. So how many more years am I going to cancel that hotel reservation and shave my beard early? I mean, I already shredded my Robert Saleh Coach of the Year ticket, which is not paying out at Caesars when I get back there. But I'm not sure. We saw Houston last year. I was at that game. I flew in for it. And with Zach Wilson having the game of his career, destroying Houston. We knocked Stroud out of the game early, and then we just feasted from the D-line. So is this going to happen? I don't know. 1 week at a time. And instead of cheering for a playoff spot now, I'm cheering for first downs. So when I'm watching the Jets, my bar is lower. I'm now saying, hey, guys, come on. Let's get a first down this drive. Come on, guys, let's get a first down. That's what it sounds like. Not we're going to win the Super Bowl and I got this stupid hotel room. So I'm changing expectations, but staying positive.
Hang in there, Brian. I love your passion.
We're back, man. We're back.
Back, man. It's game 2 with Devontae. Jeff Parles is back too. Hello, Jeff.
I'm gonna have to start asking Cox Cable for money back at this point. This is 2 weeks in a row now where I flamed out in the middle of this thing because of the internet.
That's okay, Jeff. Don't worry. Don't worry. One quick super chat I want to acknowledge. You got time for 2 more calls, Jeff?
Yeah. Well, did you? I know we have one that you have to get for me, right?
Well, maybe 3. We got some elite guys on the line.
All right, we got 3 then. Then we're good.
Super chat, Aaron Rodgers. Agree with Jake. Should rest AR. Looks injured after getting pounded against Denver and the Vikings. Lost mobility. Doesn't trust the O-line. That's why he's dinking and dunking. Look, if there was a game to do it, it'd be this one. But at 2-5, it's not going to happen. That's the bottom line. But all right, let's get to the calls right now, ladies and gentlemen. This guy needs no introduction. But did you really think we were going to have this guy on and not give the proper intro? All aboard.
Hi, how are you? Bruce Hall. That's good.
Hey, Lane. Lane, unmute your mic.
Oh, no.
He's gone. It's been happening a lot. He's got worse internet than you.
Hi. Sorry, everybody. See you next call when we talk about sports again.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Lane to this guy.
The only thing better than all them shoes is Joey D, cause he totally rules. Jake, my brother, I'm high as a kite. I love everybody. Damn, this show is crazy.
Bonesy.
Jeff and Jake, my boys. Is my internet okay? Can you guys hear me okay?
We got you, buddy.
You're good.
All right. Well, it's been some sad times, some sad, lonely times recently. You know, I'm down in the dumps just like everybody is. And, you know, I'm kind of out of excuses. It does suck to see what's happening. I will say that I think since the Denver game, Rodgers has been playing really hurt and not mobile, and it has been affecting his game. I still hate the fact that we were 2 missed field goals and a play away from having a different record and not being in this shithole and just talking about all the negatives aspects of what's going on. And, you know, call me, you know, Joe Douglas truther and all that shit. I get it. I am. But I'm just afraid. You know, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of we never get it right. So I'm afraid of I don't want to rebuild. I'm not ready to give in yet. When I watch Devontae Adams talk and I watch him chase down that and make that tackle, he ain't doing that shit for us Jet fans. He's doing that for his boy Rodgers. And they came here, Devontae came here not to flush this season and us start trading our players away. They're trying to right the ship. And Rodgers is playing really beat up, and he's giving us all he can. And he said it himself. He's out there looking a little like a whiny baby. He's like, you know, rolling his eyes too much. And I feel like our young, pitiful, broken-minded players just fall into the trap. Like the fact that we were up 15-6 and that interception actually ruined the entire game. It's pitiful. Like Jake's been saying it, the glass jaw effect. We just shatter,
the
bro.
bonesy internet. Man, it really is contagious with the internet today. We'll do one more for you, Jeff. Ladies and gentlemen, you know who it is.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, everybody. This is Bob from Vermont. I am Bob, of course. Hello, Jeff and Jake. How you guys doing, my brothers?
Bobby, as I've told Jake every week, you brighten my day every week on this show.
Well, when you come on, you brighten my day, too. I tell you, I was so excited to get to talk to you today. I am very excited.
So Bobby, what do we do here? What do we do here?
Well, first of all, I think
it's all looking bad right now.
They should get back to the pony situation, you know, both in the backfield, like we were supposed to do before, and we're not doing it.
Bobby, do you have any takes for the defense? You always have a take with Braylon Allen being inserted.
Okay, well, Sauce sucks. That's
what?
For sure.
He sucks.
Sauce sucks. Yeah, he's not no Revis Island. I tell you that much.
Okay, so he's not the best cover corner.
Look in England. He had the ball right in his hands. He drops it. I could have caught that.
Bobby, I will say, no one's Darrelle Revis. No one's Darrelle Revis.
Yeah, well, Sauce, he can't tackle. He runs around like a little girl. Yeah, no, Sauce is not that girl, that good. He hasn't shown us yet nothing. So I feel bad for the Jets defense. They got hurt a lot this week. You know. So my opinion is, I think for this week, they should be Tyrod Taylor in so Aaron Rodgers could heal up for the following week against the smelly Texans. We're gonna kick their asses because we're gonna be there, me and Michael and Jake, and we're gonna party.
Are you going to the game?
Yeah, Bobby's going to the Texans game.
Okay.
I have it in my phone.
Hold on.
Okay, Jake,
hold on.
what
Can
is?
I just say something real quick?
Yeah.
the New York Jets lose when Bobby Midnight is in attendance, I will never be more angry at the franchise than if they lose the game with Bobby
And
Midnight.
then I have to control my brother if they lose. Oh my God. I'd be in serious shit right there.
It might be the last game I go to all year if they lose, by the way, Jeff. These are it's the only game I have tickets for the rest of the season right now.
Jake, what was the guy who gave
we'll
us
tell
the
you,
free
tickets are
ticket?
going to get cheaper if they lose the next 2 games, Jake. So
What was the guy's name that gave us the free tickets? What was his name? Do you remember?
Your tickets were gifted by listener.
He was such a nice guy.
What's his name? I got to look it up because we did a whole video on it. I don't want to get his name wrong. I think it's Roger, but I could be wrong on that.
No, I don't think it's right. Don't
No,
say
it's Walter.
Roger.
It was Walter. That's what
yeah,
it was.
Walter. I think it was. Yeah, nice guy. And then guess what Jake did for me and Michael?
What did he do, Bobby?
He got us tickets, passes to go on the field.
Yeah, field access for Bobby pregame.
Oh,
And Mikey, right?
Bobby and his brother will be on the field pregame.
And
yes.
when I got to trip Rodgers, when I go.
Please don't injure the players, Bobby. That would not.
No, we're not going to do that. We might do it to like the water boy. What's his name? Hackett. I think that's a good position.
Is Hackett even allowed on the field anymore?
Yeah. And then what is this thing I heard? Robert Sal, the Green Bay Packer. I think those guys are Wisconsin Kush. I think they are on Wisconsin Kush.
I know Bobby so well. I knew he was going to somehow shoe in insert town Kush in his comment.
Well, no, I'm just saying, how the hell do you want this guy on your team? He just stands there like a statue and chews his gum, and he doesn't care about anything. He cares about when he probably has something to eat at night and having passionate love with his wife. So that's why he has 9 kids already. So he's pretty busy, and he's like this on the side. So no, I can't believe he wanted him on. Oh, Jake Neal wants to say hello to me and Shaq. Is that all right?
Jeff, do you have time to say hello to Neil? It might take another hour.
No, I'll leave. I just want to say hello to
Neil, but I will say, though, I'm still aggravated at Neil because Neil bringing the mushes to the Denver game indirectly ended.
I know.
Bobby, what's happening?
How
Peter in trouble. I can't take it. I can't. Jake, I have a merch opportunity for you. I'll be your marketing scenario with this. And you have to do it quick. You have to get Carly on the thing. You have to make just rubber faces for all the top ass maniacs and send them out. We'll pay for them, whatever it is. And then when we come on the show, we have to wear a mask of our favorite, we can.
I got that happen to me one time before.
Bobby or Shrek, we could do.
Wait a second, how did that happen to you, Bobby? Hold on.
Not Deep did it to me on my show. It was on your show, right? Not Deep. Remember Bobby from Keene? Or New Hampshire?
Bobby, I have no idea what you're talking about.
It was on my show, or was it on Nick's show?
Oh no, but Jake, is Bobby talking about the time where the guy came on and just was being ridiculous and Bobby?
No, that was Gator. That was Goober.
Oh, okay. All right.
I apologize. Yeah, we're friends. We took care of it.
Neil, I got some exciting news for you. Joe Beningo is coming to the watch party on Sunday, so you can watch the Jet game with Joe B.
Yeah, don't they look like brothers? And they sound alike too.
Yeah.
Identical cousins.
I would love to be with Joe. I would love it. I'll see what happens.
I mean, it sounds like
this is the time of year. I think about another week from now, I'm such a moron. I get my pad out, like this, and I start going through the scheduling. I'm so tired of doing this that I have to look at what other teams have to do to lose for us to sneak in as a wild card. My brain is so sizzled with this team. It's just beyond compare. It really is. And then to add it all, I got to see Alan subject heading Neil a clown. Oh, I'm gonna send. I'm telling you, I'm sending Rob to his place, man. After a bender, I'm gonna send him over there. Rob's gonna crack him in half like a walnut. But hey, listen, I like Alan. You need that. You know what I'm saying? You need the smack around to bring you into reality. But I'm here till the end, my friend. I'm here till the end. Jeff, what's the odds on the Jets to win the Super Bowl right now?
Not long enough, my friend.
What is that? What is that? What's
not
the
long
odds
enough? I'm checking right now.
I might double up my bet. How about the guy last caller? He gets a hotel room. Boy, he trashed the California guy. He was like ready for the fire sale already, and then he's talking about how you can't be ready for a fire sale. Be a Jet fan. It's not even
Neil, they're only 50-1, which is nowhere near good enough of what the price you actually would need to justify betting it at this point. Bobby, are you waving goodbye to us?
No, I wanted to say a question. Neil came to my show the other day. Neil came to my show the other day, and him and Alan were very nice to each other. You have to see.
I was.
Conversation.
I gotta tell you.
Hold on a second, Bobby. You bring people together. Of course, they were nice to each other.
Well, you got to come on my show, Jeff. You haven't come on my show yet.
Where's Al? Oh my God, what is Al?
Al looks like the Bobby Midnight show.
I can bring people together too, Bobby. You're not the only one around here who can do it.
I know, but no, they two talk to each other very nicely. I was shocked.
Hey, Neil, why are you still talking? Neil, I thought you were done with you. Neil, you said you were not going to say anything. We're done.
Alan, I'm done. What we have. Let me just say this to you. I stopped being done the year that when Rex Ryan said we had no chance to get in the playoffs. I vehemently disagreed, and we ended up in the playoffs that year.
Hey, Neil, can you do me?
I said we're going to do it. No, you're wrong, Rex. Sure
Neil, can you do me a favor, Neil? Neil, do me a favor, okay? When Drake May beats us on Sunday, and I know you had fun the other time, can you wear a Drake May jersey on the air next week, please?
You actually think that they're going to lose, Alan? You actually think they're going to lose to the Patriots?
No.
I don't know. I agreed with you, Jake. I would take the Pats +7. I would. I would.
I never saw Alan so goddamn happy. Alan, are you a baseball fan at all, or what? What's going on?
I'm a Yankee fan. Yeah. I'm a
Yankee fan. Here for the Dodgers, though. Right?
What's your prediction on the Yankees?
Dodgers in 4. Go ahead, Alan.
I said Dodgers. I said Dodgers in 6.
I say the Yankees.
The Yankee fan has Dodgers in 6.
I think the Dodgers are a better team. Jeff agrees with me.
I have the Dodgers in 6 also. So
you see, Jeff's a smart guy.
They don't have pitching. They have a bullpen.
Bobby, trust me. I thought that was the same thing. I thought the Mets would beat them in the NLCS, and boy, was I wrong.
Well, I was wrong too. I wanted the Mets to win too, but the Yankees are
right. I think every Met fan on planet Earth wanted a Subway Series, and every Yankee fan is thrilled that they don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, but
I wanted a Subway Series.
But
Jake, you'll be happy to know. I don't know if Alan's so happy, even though he's a Yankee fan, but I am officially going to say something that will ensure that the Yankees win the World Series. You ready?
He's picking the
Dodgers in 6.
The Dodgers in 5.
Yeah. Jeff, thanks for dealing with that madness. All the love.
Was that the first ever quintuple box in show history?
No, it's happened a couple times. I don't know if it's happened with a guest though. It takes a very unique guest because you've been on the show long enough. You know the callers. You know how it goes. So I think that's the first time we've done that with. We basically turned the show into the Bobby Midnight Show with a guest.
No, I'll give everyone credit. Everyone had enough courtesy there. It was pretty good. But again, I think the problem is with this Jet season, as we just saw, no Lane Train and no Neil on the field. That's the reason they've been having to lose all these games. Would he do that? Bring those two on the field to win, probably.
It's true. It's true. I mean, this is typically, by the way, what the Bobby Midnight Show looks like for those who may be new to my show. It's out of control. Jeff, where can people find you?
Yeah, I had Jeff Parles on the tweets, Sports by the Book on YouTube. If you want to hear a perspective that is actually one of the best Vegas perspectives of all, and it's not mine, on Friday, Jake, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's our bookmaker special. So the bookmakers from the South Point come on the show and we talk football for 2 hours. It's a pretty cool show if you want to win some money. Those guys are a lot smarter than I am. So make sure you're on 5 to 7 Eastern time Friday afternoon. Be on the lookout for that, guys.
Love it, Jeff. Great job, man. I'll talk to you soon, and hopefully the Jets can actually win a game.
You know what, Jake? Just win this week, and then we can be delusional next Wednesday. How does that
Exactly.
sound?
That sounds great to me. I'm delusional every day. I love it.
So it sounds good to me. Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Jazz Maniacs.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Parles joining us in his weekly spot. I'll stay on. We got more people on hold. Let me get to a couple super chats here. Bo writes in, none of us can predict the future. Hold fast, keep the faith, and let Jake talk us of any foreseeable ledges. The problem is I'm on the ledge right now, Bo. I can't talk you off the ledge. I'm on the ledge. I can't do this, man. I can't talk about this team every day after this year. I make my living doing this now. How sick am I? It's insane. Nate says, Jake really trying to make all the love a new thing. It's not a new thing. It's a Beningo thing. That's what Joe says. Joe's coming to our watch party for those who missed it. So RSVP if you want to watch a Jet game with Joe B. I gave him the option not to come. He committed to coming to the watch party when the Jets were 2-1, and I gifted him the Rodgers jersey when I was the guest on his live podcast taping. And Joe said he'd come to this watch party. I did not imagine the Jets would not have won another game since they were 2-1 that Friday night. I did the podcast with him at the Hackensack Brewing Company. But we'll have Joe be at the watch party on Sunday if you can make it out. More of your calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob the Jet fan's on the line. Hello, Rob.
I tell you, Jake, lucky you didn't put me on before. I would have lambasted Alan. You know I would have.
Alan, call back in. Rob has some words for you.
I have some words for you. And don't worry about it. I'll get Neil to come down to the T-Square. He's coming. Even if I have to go get him, he's coming.
Yeah, we need you and him there Sunday, man. The Jets won the last time you both were there.
Remember? And he
Titans
promised me. I had called him, and he said that he wasn't going. And I said, okay, Neil, no problem. But I go, the following week, I don't want to hear it. I go, we're going, right? Oh, yeah, we're going. He was like, so even if I have to drag his ass down there, I will. He's going.
We need it. We need some Neil Shuffles, baby.
We need it. Gator, I need a full-time intro. Gator! Jake, I'm calling because I agree with a lot of what you said with as far as I would start Tyrod this week. Give him a week off. He's obviously hurt, Aaron Rodgers. If we can't beat the Patriots with Tyrod, then why did we get Tyrod for? We got him to rest Rodgers when he has these not so serious injuries, like a hamstring or like a little knee inflammation. That can only do him well. I mean, he could still practice on the side, get acclimated with Devontae, and get reacclimated with obviously Garrett and everyone else. Let's rest him. And at the very bones on minimum, Jake, at the very minimum, if they still start Aaron Rodgers, and they probably will, if we're already ahead two or three scores by the first quarter or before halftime, they better pull him and let him rest Aaron Rodgers. Because now is the time, Jake, that we have to start making some moves here. Another person we need to rest, obviously, is Tyron Smith. He's got to rest. Let's put Olu in there. If he has a back injury or a slight rib bruise, then you know what? Why did we draft Olu? We drafted him 11th overall. This is his traditional position. left tackle. Let's bring him in. Let's sit Gibson down and let's try Malachi Corley. Why not? Let's start doing these little subtle moves here to show the fan base, you know what? We are serious about changing things around, Jake. And these things could make a big difference. I don't understand why they're hell-bent on doing things the same way all the freaking time. And it's really annoying. Let's make a couple of moves like this can make a huge difference, Jake.
I agree, Rob.
Let's get brick up.
Coach Rob, baby. Look, to me, Olu should start at left tackle. All right, I need to see a new kicker on this team. They haven't done it yet. It feels like Zerline's getting another week, which I don't get why. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I'd put Corley in on special teams. There's no harm in it. Ladies and gentlemen, here's what we need to do. Rob, I'm bringing you back on. Joining us right now is also Alan. Gentlemen, hello.
You hate the Jets. Be honest, dude. Stop the nonsense. You're a Jet hater. You hate the Jets. Let's be honest. You're not a Jet fan. You're not a fucking Jet fan. You're not. Well, let's be honest.
Can I talk? Can I talk?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I am one who laughs when I see a shit show. And what I saw Sunday night was a team that quit on its fans. They quit. Okay. Their defense quit on the fans. So why would I cry over it? You have to laugh. You just have to laugh.
Really? Really? And why would you text? Why would you text? Hold on. Okay, you said it. I heard you. Why would you text and say, "Oh, can't wait to get for the November tank"? Who the fuck?
Because that's what it's going to. That's where we're headed.
And you're happy about it? You're happy to say that you're right? You're happy to say you're right? You're the greatest, Alan. You're right.
I'm not the greatest, but what I see is what I say is what I see. What I say is what I see, and I see a shit show at 2-5 heading nowhere. So if I say we're talking about tank in November, I don't think I'm talking out of character. This team quit on its fans the other day. They quit on their fans, so why not laugh?
No, but you're
it's
happy
a
about it.
laughing matter right now. It's a laughing
You're happy
matter.
about it. You're happy about
happy.
it. Which bugs me.
Again, why
That's what
cry
fucking
when
bugs
this
me.
team
You're
laughs
happy
at
about it.
us? I'm not happy.
It seems
Again,
like
as I said, why cry when this team quit on us? They laugh. You have to laugh when a team quits on us, okay? They don't give a shit.
I'm not going to laugh.
They don't give a shit. Why should I give a shit?
Well, I give.
They don't give a shit. Why should I give a shit?
Okay, so
What?
then if you don't give a shit, then why you keep following them? You shouldn't follow them.
I'm a fan of the team, but I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well,
watching that game Sunday night was laughable. It was a laughable experience.
What do you think of Woody Johnson now as an owner? What do you think?
What do I think of as a horrible owner? He made the right decision to fire Saleh, and he's the GM right now. JD is nothing. JD has no power. And what I could see is I could see JD walking away by Thanksgiving and say, you know what? I don't want to come back next year no matter what. I don't think he'll be back next year anyhow, okay? Woody's running the show. JD's leaving. JD's going to leave by the end of the year. He might leave on his own accord. He may not want to come back next year, okay? But again, Woody had no choice. He had to fire this fool. Unfortunately, there was nobody else on the staff he could elevate. Again, as I agree with you, Ulbricht's not the right guy. I thought they should have went out of the organization to find somebody on a temporary basis. They didn't, and this is what the result is. The problem is they should never.
Alan, they're not getting Ben Johnson. You know it, and I know it. Let's be honest here.
I never said they were. Hold on. When did I say they? Hold on. When did I say they were going to get him? He has no interest in.
No, you didn't. I didn't say you did.
Okay.
I didn't say that you did. I know that you like Ben Johnson, and I like him too. But I want Mike Vrabel. He's an established coach who got a crappy Tennessee team with Tannehill, who sucks in my opinion, and he got them to the conference finals. Any guy who can accomplish that and have discipline for defense, that's who I want to be my next coach. I don't want to hear about resurrecting Rex Ryan and Adam. That is a joke and a half. I love Joe B, but he's wrong about that. Go out and get an established real coach. Let's go get Mike Vrabel, and I'll be very, very happy. And I think you would be too.
There are two coaches that I would love. Again, Vrabel's one of them, but watch if Ohio State does not win, I can see him going back to his alma mater if they want him. Okay. And the other one is if he settles his lawsuit with the NFL, I would bring John Gruden here in 2 seconds.
And Jet fans are clueless. I mean, they're dopes. They don't know anything. This is a really good hire. Gase is a great coach. Okay, Adam Gase is Kyle Shanahan before Kyle Shanahan. Gase is a great coach.
I figured I'd play that because we were talking about great coaches. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Rob. Good bout there. Love it. More of your calls. Let's bring on someone who's never wrong with any take ever. Gary's next. Hello, Gary.
I had an interesting question about takes. I thought Jeff had an interesting one. I wanted to see what you thought of it, Jake, because I thought it was interesting. He suggested that because of his record, that Joe Douglas should have been fired in the offseason. I'm not doing this.
I agree with him. I said to you before the year started.
Do you think that's a trash take, that he should have been fired in the offseason because of his record?
I would not have personally fired him. My take at the end of last season was either they're both back or they're both gone. I was on the record many times saying that.
So was that a trash take by Jeff?
No, it's a fair take.
Without double standards, Jake, you'd have no standards at all.
But that's not what your opinion was. No, don't lecture me. Don't lecture me. You're on the record saying
it is comical. It is comical. Your double standards, Jake. They're and then you're clapping seal. Oh, you good. Hey, Jake, let me ask you about this.
I'm just going to let you talk because the more you talk, the dumber you sound, and you make me look good. So go ahead. Just say whatever you want, Gary. No one believes you. No one does.
Jake, it's all my takes. Jake,
all my takes are recorded, Gary.
Yeah,
you
they're
can
all
look
recorded,
it up what
Jake.
I said.
You said the Jets shouldn't draft back Brock Bowers because tight ends aren't good as rookies.
That's not what I said.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said.
That's not what I said. No.
Jake, I love you.
You make everything up. What are you talking about?
If everyone supported your show like me, you'd be a millionaire, right? If you had 40,000 subs, if they all gave you as much money as me, you'd be a millionaire. So I like your show. But Jake, your takes, the Jets should run their offense like the 2008 Giants.
That's not what I said.
Come on.
You're such a moron.
I didn't know how the 2000.
I can't.
1942 Oklahoma Sooners had a backfield of Bill Campbell and Ewell. It's so funny, Jake. You understand like why people would get a chuckle out of the Jets to run their offense like the 08 Giants? You get that? Like, you see why people would find that funny?
I mean, Gary,
are you special crowd? Yeah, pound the ball up the middle. Take the fast guys out and put the big 240 pounders in to run the ball up the middle.
Read the chat, Gary. See if anyone thinks you're right.
Jake, at any point, do you think I've ever cared what the chat says?
Obviously not, because you don't care. You don't care about anything. Your takes are moronic, and you never admit
Jake,
when you're wrong.
You said the Jets shouldn't draft Brock Bowers because tight ends aren't good as rookies.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
That's exactly what you said.
That is not what I said.
That's exactly what you said.
Can I say what I actually said? Because I'm going to repeat what my take was, and the chat will back me up because they've been watching me now for 4 years do this every day. What I said was I was pro offensive lineman because I think this team needs a better insurance policy than 2 aging tackles, and I think there's a risk with a first-round tight end. History does not age well to top 10 tight ends in the first round.
How's Brock Bowers doing?
No, hold on.
How's Brock Bowers doing?
I'm going to cut you off and throw you out
because
if you keep
can't
interrupting
answer
me. No, because you don't actually want to have a discussion. You just want to do this like gotcha thing and not actually have a conversation. That was not my take on Bowers. I said he might end up being a very good player. But I couldn't justify the risk I thought it was taking a tight end that high when there were proven offensive tackles that were going to be there on the board. And I felt like this team needed more depth on the offensive line, which was their biggest issue last year besides quarterback, than to go with a tight end. Now, that said, I wasn't necessarily anti going weapon. I was okay if they traded up for Neighbors. Like, I was fine with that. I loved Malik Neighbors. I thought him and Marvin Harrison were very close when we were talking about it last year. Chat can back me up on that too. So it wasn't a Bowers thing. It was just a tight end thing. To me, I was trying to be risk averse in an all-in year. That was the point, Gary. So don't give me the gotcha. Don't even try and insinuate I said the Jets should run their offense like the 08 Giants. You're a moron if you actually think I said that. I did not. You were complaining about the idea of us Jet fans saying maybe they should use Braylon Allen more in games. He should be the bell cow opening drives and still mix Brees in because he's an elite weapon out of the backfield. He's an elite receiver. And I said the comp could be, what we saw with the Jets in 09 with Thomas Jones and Sean Green, what we saw in 2010 with Sean Green and LaDainian Tomlinson. And I said, how about the 07 Giants who won a Super Bowl with Brandon Jacobs and Ahmad Bradshaw? You could be a very good football team with multiple running backs touching the football. That was the point. Then you take one thing, flip it, and then pretend like that was the take with no nuance, no context, and I'm just not doing it. And then everyone laughs at you, whether it's in this YouTube chat or you trying to go at me in the Discord today. I just sit there and I actually laugh because it's ridiculous. I mean, it's unreal. I'm going to bring you back on, Gary. What did I say there that was wrong? Yeah, untrue.
It's all you can do is hang up on me, right? Because you can't address what I said.
I just did. I literally hung up on you so I could address it because you wouldn't stop talking.
You know how you lost an argument? When you start screaming and hang up on people. And that's how every one of our debates ends, because you lose every single one of them. It's like you and everyone in the Discord. I'm going to get them. Here's one thing I can guarantee, Jake, right? You're never going to get me, okay? Because you're not smarter than me, right? You're not going to get me. I know what I said. I was there when I said it, and I thought it out when I said it, right? I know exactly what I said. You're never going to get me. They're like, people in the Discord don't like you. Good for them.
That's not what I said either. I said we laugh at how stupid your takes are.
Good. You said the Jets shouldn't draft back Brock Bowers because tight ends aren't good as rookies, right?
That's not what I said.
You say literally the dumbest things ever, like in the whole history of the
Gary,
world.
Gary,
The
Gary,
Giants,
are you
the Jets
deaf?
had run the Giants offense from 2008. Didn't you see how they used Jacobs 16 years ago? It's like, is that?
Goodbye. You don't listen. I literally just explained my take it as detailed as possible, and then you still come on, and then you basically you act like you didn't hear a word I just said. You actually might be mentally ill, Gary. Like, I don't know how else to describe what just occurred there. Verbatim, I gave you my take and literally said I was risk adverse to Bowers because of the position he plays. He might be a good player. I was willing to go up for a weapon. If you think you have me, Gary, find where I said these things you claim I say. You won't find it because it's not true. When I'm wrong, I admit I'm wrong. I'm the one who thought Zach Wilson was going to be good. Now I get accused of being the biggest Zach Wilson hater. No, my opinions change based on information and how things play out. I'm not dug in like you and refuse to ever acknowledge when I'm wrong. I thought it would have been a mistake to fire Robert Saleh and keep Joe Douglas going into last offseason. In hindsight, if we could do it over, they should have fired Saleh and got a real coach going into this year. I put too much stock in the fact they won 7 games last year because of this defense and special teams and thought he deserved a year with Rodgers. Like, I got no problem admitting when I'm wrong. You just continue to move the goalposts and you sound like a moron. I'm sure Gary will now come up with something else I said that's not what I said. Hello, Gary. What else you got for us? I'm enjoying this.
How's it going, Jake? How's it going, my man?
I really do like you, Gary. I just think you're out of your mind.
Jake, if I didn't like you, I wouldn't be on your show. I want you to know I support your show, right? Like I said, if every one of your 40,000 subs gave you as much money as I did, you'd be a millionaire, right? So, like, I like your show. I don't want you to be upset or take it personally or think anything.
I'm not. I just
okay.
Your inability to never take an L is remarkable.
Because I've taken an L before on the barbecue. Like, if you're right and you make a good point, I'll say that's a good point. But you just don't really make good points, right? And then you just hang up on me and then say, look, the 75 IQ clapping seals in the Discord and the chat are laughing at you. Good for them. Like, that's awesome for them. At no point in my life.
You think everyone in the chat has a 75 IQ? Because if they disagree with you, that means they're a clapping seal and they have a 75 IQ?
In that range. Sub 90, in that room temperature range. I'm not trying to insult people, but
oh, you're not.
If you're 5'6" and I say you're 5'6", is that insulting? You got a 75 IQ. You have 75 IQ. Like, it's not. It's just. It is what it is. I'm not trying to insult you. I'm just also not very concerned.
Are you saying I'm 5'6" and have a 78 IQ?
No, I don't think you're 5'6" and have a 78 IQ. But I argue with you. If you had a 78 IQ, Jake, I wouldn't sit here and argue with you. The reason why I like doing this with you is because I think you're at least a reasonably intelligent person. Like, I wouldn't do this with someone I thought was a moron.
Snowball, Gary, I'm not insulted.
Over what? The clapping seal comment or the 75 IQ? Is that what he's talking about?
Peter says his whole neck is red. Now what happened? Jake is as cool as a cucumber.
I don't know what that even means. Okay. I don't even know what that means. But to the point of they should run the big slow guy instead of the fast guy. Like, do you think the Lions should do that? Should they take Gibbs out and start running big, slow guys up the gut? I mean, it's like
Gary, the Lions are a great example of what we're talking about. They have 2 running backs that are heavily featured in their offense.
Right, and the main guy is the fast guy who gets in space. That's the main guy. The other guy runs second.
I don't think you're understanding what we're saying with Allen. We're saying it's okay to give him a first and second down carry at the beginning of the game and not wait till like the 5th drive in the second quarter to try and get him going.
Let's try to clarify the position. Just if you're running the offense, how many touches ideally in a game do you think Allen should get?
I think it depends on the game. I think every game is different. Who's the defense they're playing?
If you got
what's the
if you
score?
got an early lead, you're up. You're up a touchdown early in the game. It's a close game throughout. One score either way throughout the game.
Just for example here, they already smoked this Patriots team. They ran for 100 yards that night. Let's see how many touches, how many carries Brees and Braylon each got that night. Because I remember being at that game. Braylon Allen played well.
Everyone played well that game. That's true. I'm not. I don't want people to think I think Braylon Allen sucks.
Braylon Allen got 11 carries. Brees got 16. I think that'd be perfect usage for how if you're running effectively, you can get both guys involved. And Brees also contributed as a receiver that night. Didn't do a ton, but he did have 4 catches for 29 yards. That's what we're talking about.
The last 3 games, Brees Hall has how many all-purpose yards? He's got at least probably 300 at least.
Yeah, how many of them have been rushing yards though? I mean, he had
I
the
don't
great
care
game
if they
against.
come through a screen pass or a handoff. I don't
But that's
care.
no, you should care because that's what I'm saying.
Why
you
does it
run the
matter?
ball because. What do you mean? Why does it matter?
If
Because
I'm
we're talking
throwing you
about
a screen pass that has a 90% completion rate, you're going to
Gary.
catch the ball. It's not
We're
going to stop the
talking
clock and
about
slow the game
running
down.
the football, man. We're talking about yards per carry. This team is struggling to run the football. We know Brees is dynamic when he gets the ball in his hands. He took a check down 60 yards almost to the house on a broken play last week. That's not what we're saying. I'm not saying you don't use Brees. I just don't think you listen. We've explained this many times.
I think 11 touches or however many touches. I think in a close game, that's too many touches. He's not that good. He's not. That's not what you 5.
How do you
give
know
him
he's
3, 4
not that
rushes and
good?
Throw the ball to him twice. Well, okay, we can look at his stats the last 3 weeks. Since there's tape on him, how has he done?
I mean,
he's got 25 yards and 10 carries, and he caught 2 balls out of 5 for 17 yards.
He hasn't been on the field as much, and Brees has also obviously
There's
been.
probably a reason for that, Jake. There's probably a reason for that.
Brees has also been heavily featured. Gary, and their 2 wins this year, he was a big part in both of them. He scored 2 touchdowns against the Titans, and he played great against New England. You don't think it's a coincidence?
I think you play.
He's averaging more yards per carry than Brees Hall is right now.
I'm sure he is. And why doesn't he get more touches? Because
but that's what we're saying. Maybe he should get more touches. You should incorporate him more earlier in drives, earlier in games to maybe play with a physicality that maybe weakens the defense. So then later on, Brees is a home run hitter who's not really hitting home runs as a rusher right now, could actually hit that home run. That's what we're saying,
how
man.
How many rushes does he have for this year of more than 10 yards?
I can't just look that up this second.
3.
I don't know.
How many broken tackles does he have this year?
Are you talking about Braylon or Brees?
Braylon. He's got 3 carries of more than 10
This all
yards.
goes back to the fact you thought Braylon Allen was a bust from the second they drafted him. And
I'm
now that
saying
he's
he
had
doesn't
success,
suck.
you're trying to
Yes, he's got 25
minimize
rushing
any
yards
role
in
he can
3
have.
games and 17 receiving yards. He's got 42 all-purpose yards in 3 games. I was wrong. That's another great take by you, Jake. 42 yards in 3 games, all-purpose yards in 3 games is unmitigated success. Do you think he'll win Rookie of the Year this year, Jake? 42 yards. You're telling me I'm wrong. It's so stupid. You don't even believe what you're saying. 42 yards is good in 3 games?
You have to be
Averages
trolling.
14
Dude,
yards a game.
there's no
There's
way.
no way you actually believe what you're saying.
How do you keep a straight face being
How
that
do you?
stupid?
He's got 42 yards over the last 3 games, and you're saying you're right and I'm wrong. It's this is hard to take.
Gary, thanks for the time.
Knockouts don't matter if you land enough jabs. You can do them.
Oh my God, man. You got to just laugh. He's so stupid. I mean, that was the dumbest things. Gary's incredible. How many touches has he had? And there's not a single person that agrees with you. There's 419 people watching right now. You make up things I say, and then when I clearly clarify my position or state my position again to you, you blatantly just ignore it. Larry, how do you deal with this? I mean, I laugh at it. I think Gary's nuts. Braylon Allen is averaging more yards per carry right now than Brees. No one's saying bench Brees. Brees should continue to be the focal point. We're talking about ways to get the running game going. And by the way, Braylon Allen scored a goal line touchdown, something Breece Hall has struggled to do this year. It got wiped away with a penalty by Tyron Smith. I mean, what are you talking about, man? Breece right now is averaging 3.7 yards per carry. That's 148th in the NFL. Braylon Allen's at 4.2. Breece has had 95 carries. Braylon Allen's had, 37. What is the shame in getting him more involved? The Jets got Sean Green involved in their offense at the end of the 2009 season. Sean Green led the Thomas Jones led the NFL in rushing that year. But the chat is apparently clapping seals. Gary's incredible. All right, a couple more calls here. Then I gotta go. I can't do this much longer. This it's just ridiculous. Indy Jets, you're up next. What's up, Indy?
I almost despise following Gary, but this time I don't. If you have a man that tries to convince everybody he's the smartest one in the room, he's the dumbest one. He's the dumbest man for trying to convince 419 people, as you said, and that has the higher IQ. Okay. And you sit there and literally explain it to him. He's saying how bad Allen was in 3 games. We've lost all 3 games. And you told him how good he was in the 2 wins we had. How is he so dense to say, well, maybe we should do what we did when we won?
I mean, like Indy, the Jets in their 2 wins this year ran for over 100 yards. In their now 5 losses, 4 of them, they average less than 3 yards per carry. So what we're trying to come up with is ways to maybe get the running game going. And you have this guy who's had more success yards per carry than Breece. Maybe you utilize him a little more and see if that gets it going. And you still are going to heavily feature Breece Hall in your offense. He's one of your best players.
Exactly. So that just tells you that the guy that thinks he's the smartest man in the room is not. When he completely just disagrees with that, we should just not. Allen probably shouldn't even. We probably ought to just cut him.
Gary from the show, or just?
Well, we could. Yeah. Can we trade Gary? I mean, what kind of trade value can we get? Can we trade him to like the Panthers? Maybe.
I'll trade him for a Big Mac.
How about one of Sanchez's hot dogs?
That works for me too.
Thanks,
Indy. Thank you. The best part about Gary is there's never one person that actually agrees with him, which is hilarious. But he thinks he's right. Yet he's the best. There's no one like him. Ladies and gentlemen, Dre is next. Hello, Dre.
Hey, how you doing, Jake?
Trey, looking good, man.
I had to dress up today for work, so I just got home a little bit ago. Hold on, give me a second here. All right, so I don't know what's happening. I'm trying to stop my packet. It'll be all right. Anyway, I need a little bit of a break because the team has just, you know what it is? It's tough to root for a team when the fans have more heart than the actual team does. And I'm sure that the chat's probably going wild. I'm sure my haters are out there. Oh, yeah, Dre had these terrible takes. You know what? Hey, I was excited for my team. I still kind of stand by like why I said what I said. But just, you know what? I didn't account for the fact that the Jets are going to jet.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, that's why I'm former resident. I've sold my prison, aka beachfront property on the island. But Gary is still crazy. Gary's still crazy. So we're gonna let Gary go. Gary just needs help. It sucks because I know that Allen is having a ticker tape parade, and you know, it just sucks. It's hard. It's for me. It's basketball season. I'm gonna go Knicks. That's what I'm focused on right now. I have no belief in this team. I have no faith anymore. They drained me dry.
Heard it
I just
says
feel like
Dre had a heart attack and he still has more heart than the Jets.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But yeah, no, I can tell you right now, this team's gonna give me. They're gonna give me a stroke. They're gonna give me something, a brain aneurysm. I don't know. But I'm still going to Halloween. I'm still gonna be there. It's so tough to watch this team. It's like I don't even know what the problem is. Normally, I can actually say, "Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that." Like, I think Allen's wrong. Like, to be honest, I don't think that. I really don't believe that. That that Salah, Salah got fired for the things that he did wrong. There's no doubt in my mind. Like, and he did a lot of things wrong. I thought that they could overcome it. I thought he could learn from it. But it's tough when you're gonna be doing the exact same thing you always do and expect different results. I think Salah is insane. Like, he kept doing the same process and thinking that, oh yeah, things are gonna be different now. None of it was working. I don't know if Brick is the answer, but I know I still see a lot of confusion and a lot of like what's going on with the team. So I'm just like, at this point, I can't even say, oh yeah, we're gonna win on Sunday. I don't think we will. I would not be surprised. If we light it up, great. But can they do it twice in a row? Can we see that?
That's the key.
I mean, and at this point, coming after you for your takes, I don't see. I mean, you always stand by your takes, and I stand by them with you. I think you're right most of the time. And in instances where we disagree, we're gonna have the intelligent conversation about that. See, that's the piece that Gary's missing. Gary's missing the intelligence in the conversation. Talking about Brock Bowers, this team taking a tight end as a first-round pick. Show me, fine, Gary, since we're wrong, you do the research. You show me the tight end that was picked in the first round that did amazing things. Once you go show that, then you can stand on, that. Look what Brock Bowers is doing. Look, and what is his team doing? What's the record of his team?
And Dre, it wasn't even like that, like a first-round tight end. It was a first-round tight end in the top 10 when you have a clear need for offensive line help, or if you were going to draft a weapon, it's a stacked receiver draft. And they obviously felt the same way. They tried to trade up to 6 to get Neighbors. So, that was the debate. I never questioned if Bowers was going to be a good prospect. I'm sure, I wasn't sure. To me, it was too big of a risk for the Jets to take, and I still stand by it. I think Olu Fashanu is going to be a really good left tackle in this league. And if he's not, we'll say they got it wrong, and we screwed that one up. But I still believe he's going to be a good player. So I don't regret that pick at all.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, it was an obvious need for us. Oh, but it's this, it's that. We're going to give Rodgers. And what would be the benefit if Rodgers, there's some throw. He's making good throws, and he makes a lot of great throws, but he's also missing throws. He's also not stepping into throws. There are things where you could see him where he's using his arm, and he's more fundamentally sound than that. I'm just like, I never get to have, I'm a Mets fan and a Jets fan, so I am very used to not having nice things, and I never get to have nice things, and that's just how it is. And I think that as we are Jet fans for the foreseeable future, we're never going to be able to have nice things. We're going to get a great quarterback, a prospect to come here, and for some unknown reason, they're just not going to be it. And then they're going to go somewhere else and do something great. And then we have the intelligence to actually go and say, oh, see, the LOL Jets, Geno Smith was really this great quarterback. Sam Darnold was really this great quarterback. At this point, there are some things that are beyond our understanding, and I think the Jets getting good players to actually play well on the field while they're wearing a Jets uniform is just one of those life's mysteries that are it's never going to happen. So
hang in there, Trey. Hang in there, brother. Your internet was a little choppy at the end there, but just win Sunday and we'll go from there. I'm laughing. Gary's still on hold, so in the private chat here goes, Olu doesn't get on the field behind a guy you think stinks. Bowers on pace for 100 catches and 1,000 yards. Will McDonald barely played last year. Now he's leading the NFL in sacks. We cannot judge a draft pick 7 games into their career. If Olu ends up being bad and Bowers is great, yeah, obviously, you could take the W on that one. Gary would be your first win. But, come on. And I was never, anti-Bowers. I was anti the position being drafted in the top 10. Bowers will prove to be a big outlier. And, he wasn't even drafted at 10. He was 12? But still, even top 12, that would be an outlier. Look where the best tight ends in the league were drafted. None of them were top 10 picks. And the Kyle Pitts experience in Atlanta scared me. I'm like, it'd be so Jets. I still think Olu's going to be very good. I mean, if anything, like you saw Will McDonald barely play last year. Now he's going to be in the Pro Bowl this year. So just saying. Bo with a super chat. It's a sad day when we put ourselves in a win or burn situation. Gangrene says, after being called a moron and now hear Jake called Gary a moron, I feel insulted. And Jake's clarifying what he said now is true. I don't know. I think this is a supportive super chat. Thank you, Gangrene, I think. Kevin writes in, came to watch you put people in the shadow realm. Yeah, I don't think we had to do that today. We just let Gary talk, and we all laughed. Michael says, did you see the Adams interview on SNY calling out players' heart? Bauer's having a good year because there's no other options. By the way, everyone has the same opinion on Gary. Moron. Gary, Michael says you're a moron. Your thoughts?
I don't know how I'll ever come back from a random guy on the internet that I don't know who called me a name. Should I call him a poopy head and get back at him? Like, how should I handle that, Jake? Because I'm going to call random people. I'm going to call random people I don't know names because that's what adults do.
What do you think of calling the chat SEAL Team 75? Because you said they're SEALs and they have a 75 IQ.
Who in particular did I call that to?
I think you basically shouted out the whole chat.
So no one in particular, right?
The chat's new name is now SEAL Team 75. Shout out to ISU for bringing that up.
So I didn't call anyone in particular a clapping seal and a low IQ, right? I didn't say it to anyone in particular.
Yeah, you said the whole chat.
So it's just in general, right?
Yeah. Everyone in the chat is a 75 IQ and is a clapping seal.
I didn't say everyone in the chat, but yeah. I mean, the one that make these comments, yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to. I mean, should I value what they say? Would you take their life? Would you take their life advice? If they said, "Here, Jake, here's what you should do with your life," would you listen to them?
Depends how much they super chatted me.
That's a fair point.
I'm a capitalist, baby.
Chicken with pasta is worse than peanut butter with sandwich.
And I'm working overtime dealing with your nonsense, Gary. Georgie with a super chat. Where's the big fella so we can put Gary in his place again? I don't know. We do need the big fella. Gangrene writes it. Support. Jake, on your take on drafting tight end at 10. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't anti-Bowers. I was anti-tight end at 10 when you clearly needed O-line depth. And if you were to go weapon, I wanted Malik Neighbors. I wanted Marvin Harrison. That wasn't going to happen. So I was all aboard Neighbors or Dunze, which they tried, and obviously they couldn't get the deal done. All right, I got time for one more call. Then I got a wrap. I got a dinner reservation at 6:30, so we got to go quick. Doug in his room. Hello, Doug.
I've been sick the past few days. This team physically actually makes me sick. I've been sick. I've been like sneezing all day. I was coughing all day yesterday. This team actually physically makes me sick. I'm going to the game Sunday. I swear to God, if they lose, I watch every game, but I'll watch every game on mute for the rest of the year if they lose on Sunday.
Totally understandable.
No, I know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. We're going to win Sunday, and then somehow we're going to luck our way into a win against the Texans. Don't know how it happened, but it happened. And then right when the hope's about to be back, we're going to get blown out by the Cardinals. That's exactly what's going to happen. And it's going to be well, the Jets jetted. And then they'll win against the Colts, and then they'll lose out after the bye because, the Jets are the Jets.
I could see them winning the next two and then losing in Arizona,
I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. You and I both know this football team. We've been fans of this football team for a very long time. My wife has a little shitty, so if I'm breaking up, I apologize.
Ladies and gentlemen, Doug in his room has fallen.
I've lost you. Can you hear me?
That video could also be played after any Gary call. Incredible. If you missed the big announcement at the beginning of the show, watch party on Sunday. Joe Beningo is confirmed to be in the house. Joe B, the legendary former sports radio host of the Oh the Pain podcast, weekly guest every Monday at 10 a.m. on the show. He'll be joining us at T-Squared Social in Midtown this Sunday. So RSVP, if you can make it, I'll be there at noon. Meet and greet with listeners, drinking some good beer, eating some good food, and maybe watching a win. I think so. Anyway, thank you all for your support. Thank you to Gary for being the real star today. Thank you, Gary.
Love you, Jake.
Love you too, Gary. Amazing. That's all the time we got. I'm back tomorrow. We'll have Nick Faria, weekly spot, 10 a.m. tomorrow. And look, if you've never been to one of our watch parties, I mean, here's an idea what it looks like. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Let's go Jets.
The yellow line and the goal line. Hand off to Hall. Touchdown Jets. They're going to get a free play. Rodgers is the master at it, and a touchdown by Lazard. Aaron Rodgers.
Did somebody say Brock Bowers?
You got me. You got me, bro.
Chicken with pasta is worse than peanut butter with sandwich.
Got him. Good night, everybody.